President Donald Trump recently spoke about a new and important topic. He mentioned the idea of revoking or taking away citizenship from some naturalized Americans. These are people who were not born in the U.S. but later followed the long process to become citizens. He specifically spoke about individuals he called criminals who became naturalized. This statement from President Trump has made many people think about what it truly means to be a citizen in the United States, especially for those who immigrated here. This is more than just a public statement. The U.S. government is now seriously considering a plan to denaturalize some Americans. Denaturalization is a powerful legal action where the government takes back the citizenship it previously granted. It is important to know that this process only affects naturalized citizens. It does not apply to those who gain citizenship by being born in the U.S. This new plan could mean that certain naturalized citizens might lose their status as Americans and face new legal problems. A key part of this change is a new official document from the Department of Justice. This memo, released earlier this year, tells federal attorneys to make denaturalization cases a very high priority. It has become one of the top 5 legal areas for the Civil Division. This shows a major shift in government policy. In the past, taking away someone's citizenship was a very rare and serious action, often reserved for extreme cases like war criminals. Now, it is becoming a more common focus for the Department of Justice. This new direction from the government poses a critical question. What does all of this mean for the millions of naturalized American citizens who have made the U.S. their home? Their rights, their future, and their sense of security in the U.S. could be deeply affected. This policy makes many naturalized citizens wonder about the lasting nature of their American identity and whether their citizenship is truly permanent. 2. What is denaturalization? Denaturalization is a legal action taken by the U.S. government to cancel a person's citizenship. This happens when someone who was born in another country has already gone through the process to become a U.S. citizen. These individuals are known as naturalized citizens. It is very different from people who are born in the United States who are called native-born citizens. Their citizenship is usually protected by the 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution and cannot be taken away in the same way. So, denaturalization does not apply to everyone, only to those who became citizens later in life through an application process, showing a clear difference in their legal standing compared to those born here. The main reasons the government can take away citizenship involve actions taken during the naturalization application itself. For example, if a person got their citizenship by fraud, this means they intentionally lied or hid important information on their application forms or during interviews. The hidden facts or lies must be material, which means they were important for the government's decision to grant citizenship. It is not about small mistakes. It is about facts that could have changed the outcome of their application. For instance, if someone hid a serious crime from their past, the government must show clear and strong proof that without the lie or the hidden fact, the person would not have become a citizen. The law specifically focuses on what happened when they first asked to become a citizen, not what they did years later after becoming a citizen. This is a very serious charge that can have lasting effects. Millions of people in the United States are naturalized citizens. This group includes people from all over the world who have chosen to make America their home and follow its laws to become citizens. They have often lived in the U.S. for many years, built families, and contributed to their communities. As of 2023, there were about 25 million naturalized citizens living in the U.S. This number is quite large, making up around 7.5% of the country's total population. Because so many Americans are naturalized citizens, the topic of denaturalization is very serious. It affects a significant part of the population and raises important questions about the security and permanence of citizenship for those who were not born in the country but became citizens by choice and by law. 3. A new government plan. The government has a new plan for denaturalization, which is the process of taking away someone's citizenship. This plan began with an important paper called a memo from the Department of Justice. It was issued on June 11, 2025, during the Trump administration. This memo gave clear instructions to federal lawyers. They must work harder and make denaturalization cases a priority. It made these cases one of the top 5 most important things for the Civil Rights Division to pursue. This was a very significant change because in the past, denaturalization rarely happened. The memo listed 10 different types of people who could be targeted to lose their citizenship. For example, it included individuals who had committed very serious crimes like war crimes, illegal killings, or severe human rights violations. Naturalized criminals and gang members were also on this list. The plan also aimed at people believed to be a threat to national security, those with connections to terrorism, and spies. Another important group targeted were individuals who committed fraud against the U.S. government or private citizens. This meant dishonest actions related to programs like the Paycheck Protection Program or healthcare fraud. A particularly broad and concerning part of this new plan is a final rule that acts like a catch-all. It allows officials to pursue any other cases they decide are important enough. This means government lawyers are given a lot of freedom to choose which cases to bring forward. Many civil rights groups and lawyers have expressed worry about how widely this broad rule could be used. This new plan is very different from the past. For many decades, denaturalization was an uncommon event. After World War II, for example, only about 10 to 15 people lost their citizenship each year. Most of these cases were against former Nazi war criminals who had lied to enter the United States. However, things began to change significantly during the first Trump administration. The government pursued 102 denaturalization cases during that period. This was a much higher number compared to the 24 cases seen under President Barack Obama's administration. This big increase clearly shows that the new government plan represents a major shift, making denaturalization a much more active and common tool. 4. The court process. When the government wants to take away someone's citizenship, there are two main ways this can happen: through a civil court process or a criminal court process. This choice makes a big difference for the person involved, as each type of court case has very different rules and protections. Criminal cases usually offer more safeguards for individuals. In these situations, the government must prove that the person is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. This is a very high legal standard, making it hard for the government to win unless the evidence is extremely strong. Also, people facing criminal charges typically have a constitutional right to legal help, and if they cannot pay, a lawyer is often provided for free. However, the civil court process for denaturalization is quite different, and it provides far fewer protections. The Trump administration has increasingly focused on using this civil path. In these civil denaturalization cases, the government does not need to meet the very high standard of beyond a reasonable doubt. Instead, they only need to show clear, convincing, and unequivocal evidence. This is a lower standard of proof, which makes it significantly easier for the government to succeed in taking away someone's citizenship. One of the biggest problems with civil denaturalization is the right to a lawyer. Unlike in criminal cases, people in civil denaturalization proceedings do not have a guaranteed right to a free attorney. This means that if someone cannot afford to pay for private legal help, they often must try to defend themselves in court. Trying to navigate complex legal rules and argue against government lawyers without professional help can be an almost impossible task. This lack of legal support puts individuals at a serious disadvantage. Another difficult aspect of the civil process is that there is no time limit, also known as a statute of limitations. The government can decide to start a denaturalization case many years, even decades, after a person first became a citizen. This means that someone who has been a citizen for a very long time, perhaps 30 or 40 years, could suddenly face losing their citizenship. This creates a lot of fear and uncertainty for millions of naturalized Americans, as they can never feel completely secure in their status. If the government successfully wins a civil denaturalization case, the individual's citizenship is officially revoked. They then return to their previous immigration status, such as having a green card. After losing citizenship, the person might then face further legal action, specifically deportation from the United States. This means they could be forced to leave the country they have considered home for many years. These court processes highlight just how serious the government's new approach to denaturalization is. 5. Is this fair? The new government plan to take away citizenship makes many ask if it is fair. Some worry it creates a second-class citizenship for naturalized Americans. This means they might not have the same rights as those born in the U.S. A native-born citizen's citizenship is safe if they break a rule, but a naturalized citizen could lose theirs, even for something from years ago. In civil court cases to remove citizenship, people do not get a free lawyer. The government also needs less proof than in criminal cases. There is no time limit, so a case can start decades later. These differences make naturalized citizens feel less secure. Groups that protect rights say this makes their citizenship less permanent. The Supreme Court, the highest court, has set a rule for taking away citizenship. It says that any lie told during the citizenship process must be material, meaning it was very important. The lie must have truly changed the decision to grant citizenship. If the lie was small and did not matter, it should not be a reason to remove citizenship. But deciding what is material can be hard. Different judges might see things differently, giving the government a lot of power. Some courts have even said any false statement, minor or not, could be enough. This can conflict with the Supreme Court's rule, causing confusion and unfair results. Many people are also concerned that the new policy could be used for political reasons. President Donald Trump has spoken about taking away citizenship from people he disagrees with. He publicly questioned the citizenship of Zoran Mamdani, a naturalized citizen and a Democratic political candidate. President Donald Trump has also made similar statements about other public figures. Experts say the government cannot strip citizenship only for political differences. There must be clear fraud from when citizenship was first given. However, the new broad rules could allow prosecutors to choose cases against political opponents, while ignoring similar cases with allies. This would be unfair targeting. People wonder if these rules could punish those who oppose the government. The uncertainty around this policy makes many naturalized Americans feel less safe and less truly accepted. They ask, is this fair to everyone? 6. A look at the past. Denaturalization, which means taking away someone's citizenship, is not a new thing in American history. The government has used this power before. It has targeted specific groups of people at different times. These past events help us understand the discussions happening today. One example comes from the 1920s. During this time, the government took away citizenship from some Indian immigrants. This happened after a court made a ruling about who could be a citizen based on race. The government used this power to act against these people. Another time was during World War II. The U.S. government used denaturalization against members of the German-American Bund. These were groups that many people saw as disloyal or a threat to the country during the war. Officials used their power to remove their citizenship. Later, in the 1950s, during an era known as the McCarthy era, denaturalization was used again. This was a time of strong political fears. The government took away citizenship from people who were thought to have undesirable political ideas or were seen as disloyal. It was a way to control groups based on their beliefs. In all these cases, the government often said it was for reasons like national security or because people had lied. But history shows that these powers were frequently used to control or punish specific groups. These groups were often seen as unwanted or dangerous by society at the time. Today, there are similar talks about denaturalization. President Donald Trump and his administration are discussing new plans. They use words like national security and good moral character when talking about why citizenship might be taken away. This makes many people look back at history. They see how such powers were used before. They worry that similar patterns could happen again. The past teaches us that denaturalization can be a strong tool to target certain groups, especially when there are strong political fears or when society wants to control parts of the population. These historical examples help us understand the current policy discussions better. 7. Big questions for America. The new government rules for taking away citizenship make people ask important questions about what it means to be an American citizen. For many years, once someone became a naturalized citizen, their citizenship was seen as strong and lasting. These new policies from the current administration under President Donald Trump challenge that idea, making citizenship seem less permanent. This brings up big questions about fairness and equal rights for everyone in the country. One main question is about equal protection. This means treating everyone the same under the law. The Supreme Court has said that naturalized citizens are just as loyal as those born in the U.S. and should not be treated differently. However, the new rules create different ways for the government to go after naturalized citizens compared to native-born citizens. For example, if a naturalized citizen made a small mistake or lied about something unimportant decades ago during their citizenship process, they might lose their citizenship. But a person born in the U.S. who does something similar would not face losing their citizenship. This creates two different types of citizens, which many people believe is unfair. Another big question is how the term national security is used. The government says some of these actions are for national security. But this term can mean many different things. If the government uses a very broad definition of what threatens national security, it could try to take away citizenship for a wide range of reasons, even for things like political speech or being part of certain groups. This might make naturalized citizens afraid to speak their minds or take part in public life, fearing it could put their citizenship at risk. What will happen next? Many groups are going to court to fight these changes. They argue that these policies do not follow the U.S. Constitution, which protects citizens' rights. Federal judges will look at these cases and decide if the government's new approach is legal. These court decisions will be very important. They will help to decide what American citizenship truly means for all people, both now and in the future. 8. What happens next? The Trump administration has started a strong new way to take citizenship from some naturalized Americans. This plan has many people worried. A special paper from the Department of Justice in 2025 asked federal lawyers to find and pursue more denaturalization cases. This makes taking away citizenship a very important goal for the government. President Donald Trump has also spoken about taking citizenship from people he calls criminals. This is a big change from the past, when such cases were very rare. This new way of thinking raises many big questions. Legal experts and groups that help people are worried about fairness. They say that naturalized citizens might become second-class citizens. This is because the process for taking away citizenship often happens in civil court. In civil court, people have fewer protections. For example, they might not get a free lawyer, and the government doesn't need as much proof as in criminal court. Also, the government can start a case many years after someone became a citizen, even decades later. Important court rulings have said that citizenship is a basic right. These rulings also said that naturalized citizens should be treated the same as people born in the U.S. But the new plan seems to make a difference between these two groups. There are also worries that the rules about good moral character and national security are too wide. This could let the government target people for political reasons, not just for serious crimes. History shows that denaturalization has been used against specific groups in the past. This situation creates a lot of fear for the millions of naturalized citizens in America. They might feel unsure about their future. They may worry that their citizenship is not safe. This could stop them from speaking freely or taking part in community life, because they fear losing their status. It could also make them less willing to challenge government policies. The way this issue develops will be very important for what American citizenship means for everyone. It will decide if citizenship is a strong, permanent right or something that can be easily taken away. This debate will help shape the country's future and how people view their place in America. What do you think makes citizenship truly strong and safe in a country?
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you.